Coming to you live from Tressel Field inside George Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome inside the biggest women's lacrosse game of the season. It's the Yellow Jackets, who are undefeated in conference play, against the Mount Union Purple Raiders, who are 5-1 with still 2 games left on their regular season schedule. This is the regular season finale for Baldwin Wallace. I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is the game that, honestly, everybody has circled on their schedule if you're not Mount Union, because they have won the last 3 conference regular season and tournament titles. They've gone to the NCAA tournament each of those 3 years, and they've won an NCAA tournament game at least once in each of the last 3 years. So this has really become kind of a fun rivalry in women's lacrosse. BW the last couple of years has had pretty good teams, but they have not been able to knock off Mount Union. The Yellow Jackets coming into today's game, though, as the favorites. They've played extremely well here in 2017, and they are ready to go for what honestly feels like an OAC championship game, at least in the regular season. There's a chance these two teams could see each other again in less than 2 weeks' time if things were to work out that way. But in the meantime, what's at stake tonight? If BW wins, they run the table in the regular season, and they would be the number 1 seed going into the conference tournament next week, which means they would be at home for any OAC tournament games. If BW loses this game, then Mount Union is only a half game behind the Yellow Jackets, and the only game remaining on Mount Union's schedule is against winless Heidelberg. In their first year as a program, you've got to go play the game, but it certainly feels like a foregone conclusion that Mount Union would probably win that game and then have the tiebreaker against BW, and they would be the number 1 seed in the OAC tournament. So it all really comes down to this particular matchup tonight. The Jackets are in white and yellow, Mount Union in the dark and, or I should say dark black and purple uniforms, and we are underway. Our officials tonight: Anne-Marie Martin, Bill Andrews, and Missy Ackerman. Mount Union going left to right here in the first half. Mackenzie Pencil, Ashley Bernardi, Alyssa Rydell, Megan Ronsere, Anna Bauhoff, as Mount Union brings the ball up the field. Amy Slusher, Michelle Tegedoff, Katie Elder, Britt Klosterman, Danielle Rohrman, who's had a really nice freshman season. Captain, senior defender Madeline Phillips, and the goalkeeper is Nikki Bonaducci. Those are the starters for Mount Union. They are working on the offensive end real quick for Baldwin Wallace. As usual, Amanda Ghetto in goal. She's a senior, and she's been really important for this team at Baldwin Wallace. We'll get to the rest of the BW starters once they possess the ball in just a moment. But in the meantime, this is Ashley Bernardi passing behind the net. An open look and an early goal. Mount Union scores from close by. It's Britt Klosterman. The junior attack with her 23rd of the year. And in the opening minute of the game, Mount Union strikes first. The starters for Baldwin Wallace: Bree Martineau, Jenna Turner, Hannah Stein, Megan Patrick, Maddie Russell, Hannah Fredrickson, Erica Eierman, Taylor Giordinango, Katie Coker, Kayla Miller, Hannah Elbrechta, and as we mentioned, Amanda Ghetto. 2 30-minute halves, so still basically an hour left in front of us, and Mount Union strikes first. BW's played really well lately. Unfortunately, they had their most recent home game canceled against Worcester as we get a stoppage of the clock. But the only 2 losses of the entire season for Baldwin Wallace came against Keene back on March 9th, and at home a non-conference game against a really good Oberlin team. That was back on March 21st. Mount Union coming back up the field, and once again, this is Klosterman. Gives it back up top, and they reset things as Katie Elder gave it away. Ground ball picked up by Elder. Megan Patrick trying to close down on her. Bernardi. Back to Elder. Maddie Russell got her stick on it, deflecting the pass across the middle. Another chance right in front, and a penalty. So a free position coming for Mount Union. They are off to a good start. It's Danielle Rohrman, the freshman, who's had a phenomenal season. Got knocked out of her pocket. Crowd on the near side certainly seems to be favoring the Purple Raiders in some regard. They have traveled well up for this one. A shot and a goal. Back-to-back free positions, and Mount Union strikes again. That time it was Danielle Rohrman, so the Purple Raiders lead 2-0. Baldwin Wallace a little bit on its heels. Yellow Jackets have yet to possess the ball in the opening 2 minutes. And Mount Union's capitalized a couple of times. Purple Raiders have been going through one of those seasons where they weren't exactly sure what they were going to have. They certainly had some returning talent. But it's such a young team for Mount Union this year after the last couple years were really special. But a lot of young ladies from that senior class had graduated. Mount Union on the possession, and here we go. By the way, that was Danielle Rohrman's 35th goal of the year. A pass into a dangerous area in the middle. Ground ball still down there, and finally picked up. Klosterman has it. Nice movement around the top and a great deflection. Baldwin Wallace comes away with it. It's Maddie Russell. And she is racing up the field. Clear attempt is good as Russell, one of the top goal scorers in the conference. Time is stopped for a moment. And Russell will have a free position. Well, Russell considered scoring, but pulled it back out instead. A chance for BW to set something up offensively on their first real possession of the game. They've been on defense right at the outset the first couple of times. See what kind of offense they can muster up here. Katie Coker dumps it toward the middle. A quick shot from Martineau. Didn't go, but it's pulled in by Albrechta behind the cage. Actually, that might be Jenna Turner or Hannah Stein back there. A little tough at this time of night to see some of the numbers clearly with the glare. We'll do our best for you. This is Albrechta up top. Pass was intended for Megan Patrick, but thrown over the top of her stick. And it's Mount Union ball. Well, the first couple minutes have been dominated by the Purple Raiders. They go up the field offensively. Rohrman off and running with Megan Patrick racing down behind her. Mount Union down on the offensive end. You can tell Baldwin Wallace defensively trying to make things difficult. Jordan Engo really widening her arms up in the air. Purple Raiders are being patient as Amanda Ghetto tries to keep her positioning in the cage. Already 2-0 Mount Union in the first few minutes of the game. Pass into a dangerous spot in the middle, but no shot. Back to Klosterman. A nice deke and then a whistle right as the shot came. Clock stops at the 25-11 mark of the first half. I don't believe we have a free position coming. Ashley Bernardi passes it back away to the near side. down toward the corner where Mackenzie Pencil, the freshman from Kent Roosevelt High School. Idell finds a crease, gives it up. Oh, a bad pass behind the net. And it's going to be BW ball. An unforced error. And the Mount Union Purple Raiders give it over. Given to Ghetto. And here come the Yellow Jackets. Nice move by Hannah Stein in the midfield. Look at her weaving around the defense. Stein going right toward the net with a good last-second pass, but the ball was not handled cleanly. The Jackets trying to retreat quickly. It's Kayla Miller running down the middle of the field to get back and try and close off the high-scoring area. BW not really sharp here at the outset. Mount Union's only conference loss so far came against John Carroll a couple of weeks ago. The Purple Raiders have moved things back in a better direction since then. Free position for Klosterman near side with 23.5 minutes left in the first half. Circled around the back of the cage, lost the ball, and scoops it back up. Maddie Russell guarding Klosterman closely. Her pass up top deflects off of Katie Elder's stick, but still possessed by Mount Union. Near side, this is Rohrman. Working around Stein. And the ball was knocked free by Coker. Well done defensively by BW. And the foul goes against the Purple Raiders. So it will be possessed by Baldwin Wallace. Under 23 minutes left in the first half as the one-hop pass goes toward the middle. Look at Erica Eierman racing up the field. Megan Patrick passes to Russell. A goal for BW here would cut the deficit in half. BW has not yet had a shot. Kayla Miller hoping to change that. Finds Patrick. Bree Martineau cuts through. Patrick still holding. Albrecht sealed off. Kayla Miller doesn't want to go to her left, even though Mount Union was giving her that defensively. So Megan Patrick scoops up the loose ball. Martineau changes sides of the field. Well, the Jackets are awfully patient right now on offense. They're just not going to force anything. Megan Patrick bounces one, bottom left corner, and it goes in. She found just enough of a window to shoot it, and Megan Patrick scores. It's her 19th goal of the season, and it makes it a 2-1 game and gets the early game monkey off of BW's back. It's been kind of a slow start for the Jackets, but Megan Patrick's goal helps them feel a little bit better. BW's 7 wins in a row have certainly opened up the eyes of all across the OAC. As it turns out, they've really only had 2 games that have been even remotely competitive. And not surprisingly, those games have been against Capital and John Carroll, and by all accounts, this is going to be another pretty tough contest. BW right now 7-0 in the OAC. Mount Union 5-1. Capital and John Carroll are each 4-2. But still some things to be decided as the season moves along. A big-timed opportunity. And the shot, well, I guess maybe it was more of a pass toward Albrechtha. Hard foul. Clock stops as Megan Patrick goes colliding into Danielle Rohrman. Patrick could tie the game here. Saved. Great stick work by Nikki Bonaducci. By the way, those 4 teams that I mentioned at the top of the OAC, BW, Mount Union, Carroll, and Capital, are the only teams in conference whose overall records are above 500. Everybody else has had a tough season. Even Otterbein at 6-7, not quite as good as maybe they hope to be here in 2017. And the rest of the conference is still very new to the varsity level and still building their program. It's a pretty top-heavy OAC right now, and really coming down to 4 teams total, but Otterbein as a 5th could potentially sneak in to the OAC tournament. They're not eliminated yet, but they need some help. And Marietta, the only team that does not compete in women's lacrosse, though that will change in the 2019 season. Not a bad move from Hannah Fredrickson as she came up the field, but the ball was jarred free. Her pass to Megan Patrick starts things over. Jenna Turner. Gives off Katie Coker. BW trying to really force the issue here. They've got 7 players on the offensive side. Coker just can't find any room. Passes toward the middle where Kayla Miller had it knocked free. Staying with BW though. Martineau from behind the cage. Passes up top to the dangerous Maddie Russell. Very well defended, but a whistle blown as Megan Ronsaray tried to seal her off. Clock stops at the 18:23 mark. Russell on the free attempt. Passes it away. Jackets still possess it. A goal here would tie the game. Katie Coker patiently looking around. It's been a pretty physical game out right in front of the cage as everybody's kind of running through, offensively and defensively. A lot of players getting bumped. Coker lost it, gathered it back in. Head coach Emily Fisher barking to her defense, trying to help out as best she can. Pass into the middle. BW still has it, but they can't get a shot off. The only shot they've taken in the first 12 and a half minutes has gone in. And make it 2 for 2. Albrechtha saw the crease, and she scores to tie things up. Hannah Albrechtha with her 24th of the year, now 34 points total. The 34 points fourth on the team behind Maddie Russell, Kayla Miller, and Katie Coker. So after the slow start for BW offensively, 2 consecutive goals have tied things back up, and we're all square at 2 apiece. Tonight's Yellow Jacket lacrosse game is brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. By Domino's Pizza in Berea. You can order online at Domino's.com. And by the Ohio Education Credit Union. Gain the advantage by building your future today. Draw goes high into the air, and Maddie Russell comes down with it. Russell slipped through 2 defenders. She wanted to continue on. She's not happy that the whistle deemed her unable to do so. And BW sets things up. This has been a game of chances few and far between. Mount Union's only taken 3 shots. And the 2 that have gone on goal have gone in. Puts a little more pressure on Bonaducci and Ghetto. Both trying to cover the cage as best they can. About halfway through our first half. Russell lobs one. Redirected to the backside. Albrecht can't come away with it. Nicely done on the defensive end by Danielle Rohrman. And Rohrman had it jarred loose. Turner and Russell there. It's Russell that picks it up. Martineau and company going to work. Baldwin Wallace looking for their first OAC regular season championship in lacrosse, and if they win tonight, they run the table in conference. If they lose, they've got to hope that winless Heidelberg comes up with some sort of miracle on Saturday and beats Mount Union. That's the only chance that BW would have if they lose tonight's game. Martineau trying to make that an afterthought, and her shot is nicely blocked by Bonaducci. The pass toward the cage almost went in. Caught Bonaducci off guard. Mount Union able to recover, though, without any major disaster. And here they come up the field offensively, led by Michelle Tegedoff. We have a whistle. Do we have a timeout, though? All right, everybody laying down their sticks, and we have a stoppage. We are just over the halfway point in our first half. 14:53 left in the first period. 2-2 game, Mount Union with 2 early goals. BW the last 2 to tie things up. Back in a moment at Tressel Field. Baldwin Wallace Lacrosse brought to you by the Hoffman Group. They're an Oswald company. They'll handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. By Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider for Baldwin Wallace. And by the Comfort Inn in Middleburg Heights, where your comfort is just a part of the service we provide our guests. Mount Union 2, Baldwin Wallace 2. We are just past the halfway point of our opening half. Brendan Gulick with you on a beautiful day in Northeast Ohio. The temperature in the low 80s this afternoon. Not a lick of humidity. No clouds to speak of, but it is a breezy night. The flag in the far right corner would be in the top right corner of your computer screen as you watch with us. That's where the flag is in the stadium, and it is swiftly blowing in the direction that Mount Union is racing, and they score. Well, the Purple Raiders wasted no time at all coming out of that timeout. The goal goes to Katie Elder. So the Purple Raiders take the lead back. Only about 2.5 minutes after Baldwin Wallace had tied the game at 2 apiece. I think it's fair to say that Mount Union has probably led the time of possession in this game, but it's a little more equal after BW had really been on the defensive end for almost the entire first 6 minutes of the game. And the Jackets had run some clock when they had the ball offensively, but probably favors Mount Union just a little bit. And a foul after the draw control went to Mount Union. That's their 4th. Number of possessions is pretty equal. BW caused one more turnover, but they have won one fewer ground ball. Megan Patrick doing everything she can to keep the keep the Purple Raiders at bay. Good feed into the middle, and a save by Amanda Ghetto. Great effort from Ashley Bernardi as she came racing uncontested toward the cage. Ghetto was there for a big stop. All right, BW needs some help. Ironman, rather, that was Taylor Giordanengo who was in trouble. Now Megan Patrick, far side of the field. Manages to ward off the defense, but she was sealed off from the cage. And so the Jackets set it up. Emily Fisher and Kim Russell, two coaches that have been at their respective positions since the outset of the two programs, both in their 5th year. Mount Union's had quite a run the last several years as Patrick shoots one low and wide left. And apparently it goes to BW, or rather it goes back to Mount Union. Emily Fisher is 73-12. Coaching in her 5th season. Not many OAC losses in that range. In fact, a few of those losses have been NCAA tournament games the last couple of years. Last year, the Purple Raiders beat Washington and Lee in the first round of the NCAA tournament before bowing out. 2 years ago, they actually went to the round of 16 in the NCAA tournament, finished in the top 20 in the country. We get a yellow card on Baldwin Wallace. That's on Hannah Elbrechta. And Hannah Elbrechta is not happy. She is screaming over in the direction of her bench. Admittedly, I didn't see exactly what she did, but BW will play one player down. Just the 14th yellow card given to Baldwin Wallace all season long. Mount Union, in fact, actually at the same mark. Under 12 minutes to play in the first half, and the Purple Raiders trying to take advantage of a big situation here. They lead the game 3-2. Klosterman was sealed off, but she gets it right back from Ashley Bernardi. Pass to the corner goes to Katie Elder, who scored that third goal. Her ball thrown toward the middle was deflected. And now we have a stoppage and another card coming. This time the yellow card goes on Mount Union. So Albrecht had to sit. Trying to get a good look at who that is across the way. Pretty sure it's Danielle Rohrman. Yes, it is. Rohrman went slashing too hard with her stick. BW nearly turns it over. Jordanengo struggling a little bit tonight. Mount Union got off to a fast start, but BW's made this game a little tighter. Jackets at home, trailing by 1 though. 11 minutes left in the first half as BW tries to bring the ball up the field and tie the game. By the way, just for stat purposes, in case you're following in that regard, Britt Klosterman did get credit for an assist on Katie Elder's goal. Kayla Miller turned away. Good pass to the middle, but a better save by Bonaducci on Jenna Turner's lightning quick wrister. Bonaducci earning her keep tonight. The netminder slings one half the way up the field. Mount Union clears it out. Foul on Baldwin Wallace. It's on Jordanengo. Bernardi passes to the middle. Nice defense, holding off Katie Elder. Anna Stein, good defense. Rydell and company trying to figure it out. All right, both teams are back at full strength now. Both Albrechta and Rohrman have returned. And Albrechta sticking her nose in there right away. Finally, the whistle blows. And Albrechta is basically being told to cool it a little bit. Jordanengo over there too. Junior Britt Klosterman with a big chance. Great pass and a better finish. It's a Mount Union goal, but are they going to hold it or wave it off? We'll see. Alyssa Rydell scores. I think she was arguing that she was pushed into the circle. And it appears that Rydell's goal will stand. So Mount Union with a 4-2 lead. Amanda Ghetto doing a little bit of soul searching. It's been a frustrating first half for her. You can tell this is a pretty intense rivalry too. All three officials have had to pay pretty close attention to how things have gone. Had a lot of whistles here in the first half. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but Mount Union will start. There really was no draw to be had. So Klosterman scores her second of the game and her 24th of the year. Ghetto with another great save as Klosterman tried for the hat trick. Free position coming for Mount Union. I beg your pardon. Klosterman assisted for the second time in the game. Alyssa Rydell obviously scored the goal. It was her 15th. Good pass into the middle. BW's defense recovers. Rohrman was turned away, and then a whistle blew. I've been called Anna Bahoff's name a lot, but she has certainly been a part of the offense. Rohrman on the free position. Slipped through. Lost the ball. Maddie Russell with the free position as Baldwin Wallace takes back possession. Russell decides she wants to do it herself, so she just runs the ball out of the defensive end. Less than 8 minutes to go in our first half. BW and Mount Union playing a pretty good game. Purple Raiders right now have the top hand, up 4-2. Winner of this game will have the inside track to the #1 seed in the OAC tournament next week. If BW wins this game, they're guaranteed the #1 seed. If Mount Union wins this game, they'll have to win on Saturday against Heidelberg, who is 0-10 in the inaugural season of their program. But should they do that, then they will win a share of the conference crown. Yellow Jackets are guaranteed a home game next week. When that information becomes official, we'll let you know what day and time. Albrecht, boy, was she bothered. And Albrecht will be awarded the opportunity here. She passes to Megan Patrick. Baldwin Wallace needs a goal to cut this lead in half. Down 4-2. Megan Patrick and Hannah Albrecht have the 2 BW goals tonight. Russell waiting, forced to give it up. Turner's pass to the middle somehow slipped through untouched. How did that happen? You can hear a lot of chirping on the defensive end of the field. They're trying to communicate and make sure they cover all angles. Katie Coker. Under 6 minutes to go in the opening half. Great pass to the middle. Deflected, dropped, and BW finally picks it up. Maddie Russell was checked. She restarts and gave it up. Well, in a game where possession is so valuable, BW is definitely using a lot of clock. But they've got to find a way to get an open shot and convert. Only taken 6 shots the whole game so far. Martineau lost the ball. Boy, was she really hit hard. And now Bree will have a chance with Mount Union behind her. Anne-Marie Martin, the official, tells the defense to back up. Nice pass from Martineau, redirected toward the middle. Albrecht tried to use Kayla Miller as a screener. Hannah just won't let it go. Instead, Martineau in the middle, and she bounces one in. Big goal for Bree Martineau. Her 26th of the year, that's third most on the team. And BW finally puts one in. 4:25 left in the first half. It's been 13 minutes since they last scored offensively. I think that's a real tip of the cap to Mount Union's defense. Purple Raiders have been as difficult an opponent as Mount Union, or I should say as Baldwin Wallace has seen all season. And we have a one-goal game late in the first half. Russell racing over. Megan Patrick tried to slide it along the turf. And it's Mount Union ball. Head coach Kim Russell standing with her hands on her hips, far side of the field, maybe a little bit frustrated. Great deke by Bernardi. She dishes in front. Amanda Ghetto got her stick in the way, and it will be Baldwin Wallace ball after Rohrman couldn't finish it. Kayla Miller passes near side with 3:45 to go in the first half. Another brief stoppage. Glad this game is taking place when weather is not going to affect it. You certainly want to have a night like this. The two premier teams in the conference. Baldwin Wallace on offense. A chance to tie the game. It would be the second time in the game that they could work it to a tie. After Albrechta's goal, the 17:25 mark tied things up at 2. Less than 3 minutes to go in the first half. And we'll see how much BW presses offensively versus maybe tries to hold off a little bit, patiently look for that right opportunity and not give Mount Union another look. Obviously, still so much game to go, you would prioritize scoring, or I should say taking an open shot. You always prioritize scoring, but take an open shot as opposed to kind of hold the ball off. We'll keep our eye on the clock, though, with 2:15 left. Coker gives to Miller in a great position. She just couldn't pull the trigger. Or if the ball got lodged in the pocket a little too deep for Kayla Miller. Russell's pass to Bree Martineau, bounced in again. 2 in a row for Martineau, and the game is tied at 4. Freshman from Strongsville comes through in a big way. And with just under 2 minutes to go in the first half, BW feeling a lot better about themselves. The draw controlled by Russell. So if BW takes care of things here, they might have a chance to actually take their first lead of the game. The blown whistle is a foul against Baldwin Wallace. By the way, on the men's side, they have reached halftime down in Alliance. It's a low-scoring game there. BW leads Mount Union 3-1. It's a big game on the men's side as well. Foul whistled against Jordan Paw. A minute 33 left on the clock. Mount Union with a goal could take the lead back going into the locker room. Klosterman was denied. Gave it over to Rohrman, and the whistle blows. A free position for Danielle Rohrman. basically right at the top of the arc. Not sure why she tried to go to the right. It was clearly a foul on the left-hand side. A great pass and a shot wide to the right. Good idea to catch and shoot from Katie Elder, but off target. Still Mount Union ball. 1:13 left in the opening half. Klosterman dropped it. Jordan Ango all over her. The pass went up top, and Mackenzie Pencil was knocked to the ground by Kayla Miller. 1:01 left in the first half. Alyssa Rydell gave it away. Pass goes back to the far side, bobbled by Bahoff. And Megan Patrick picks it up with 35 seconds left. 4-4 tie. Closing minute of the first half. Pass goes up the field, and Coker is the closest to it. Albrecht accidentally kicked it. Mount Union gets it back with 17 seconds to go. A mad dash to the finish. Klosterman to the far side. 6 seconds to play. Klosterman with 2 seconds. Gets the shot off. It's deflected, and it does not go in. Mount Union and Baldwin Wallace play a terrific first half that ends in a 4-4 draw. And so we've got a 10-minute intermission, and then we'll have the second half coming up next. Tie game in Berea here on BWYellowJackets.com. Tonight's Yellow Jacket women's lacrosse game brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Division, the official healthcare provider for BW Athletics. Mount Union 4, Baldwin Wallace 4 as we start the second half. Honestly, the first half could not have been much more balanced. Both teams had big-time opportunities on the offensive end. Both teams had to step up and play some pretty important roles defensively as well. The scoring has been kind of cyclical. Mount Union scored 2 goals in the first 2 minutes of the game. The next 2 goals went to BW. Mount Union actually their second goal to their third goal. They didn't score for a 14-minute stretch from the time the game was tied at 2 when BW tied things up on Albrechta's 24th of the year. BW didn't score until the 4:22 mark. They went 13 minutes without putting one in. Mount scored twice, then BW twice, Mount 2 more, BW 2 to equalize. So the Yellow Jackets look like they will start the second half with the ball. Megan Patrick, Hannah Albrechta have each scored once. Bree Martineau with each of the last 2 for Baldwin Wallace. Second half off and running. Winner of this game has the inside track to the number 1 seed. In fact, if BW wins the game, they go 8-0 in conference. They would run the table, and they would be the number 1 seed. If Mount Union wins this game, they definitely have the better chance. But BW strikes first in the second half. Big goal right out of the gate for Katie Coker. Scoring off the free position, Baldwin Wallace with their first lead of the game. It's 5-4. Coker scores her 14th goal of the season. Known far more often for her ability to find open teammates. She has assisted on almost 3 times as many goals as she scored herself. But the top-seeded Yellow Jackets, at least in the regular season for now, with their first lead of the game, and it comes 25 seconds into the start of the second half. This one is far from over, though. Megan Patrick was right there to scoop it up, but she just couldn't get her stick on it. Loose on the side, goes out of bounds, and it goes to Baldwin Wallace, to the dismay of Britt Klosterman. I think the opening few minutes are going to be important here. It's all about establishing some momentum. BW obviously got off to a good start, but we saw how that happened in the first half too. Mount Union raced out to the 2-0 lead, and BW was able to work around it. The entire game has been played within just a couple goal differential. Maddie Russell. Bad pass up top to Megan Patrick, but Coker saves the possession. Russell's pass to the far side. Kayla Miller gives it away. Albrechta double teamed, so she had to back out. Maddie Russell just over the top of the bar. It stays with the Yellow Jackets. And apparently we have an injury. Didn't quite catch who that was. It is an injured Mount Union Purple Raider. And I can tell you it's Alyssa Rydell, kind of holding her right leg. So we'll step aside while she's attended to on the field. 28-14 left in the second half. Alyssa Rydell being attended to. It's 5-4 Baldwin Wallace. All right, back in Berea where Baldwin Wallace will restart things on the offensive end. Alyssa Rydell, the injured Mount Union Purple Raider, able to walk off under her own power, though gingerly at that. And a foul on Mount Union on the far side of the field will give the Purple Raiders a chance to figure it out defensively here. Jackets in white, Mount Union in black and purple. And they are defending off to the right-hand side here in the second half, having already surrendered one goal. This is BW's first lead of the game, 5-4. Kayla Miller still holding the ball. Nobody there to defend her. She gives to Russell in the middle. Maddie's in trouble. Boy, that was really nice defense. Russell finally gives it up. The pass flung to the far side. BW barely able to save it in time. Patrick gives to Martineau. Open in front. Can't get it off clean, though finally at the last second, it rolls away. BW still possesses. My goodness. By the way, an update on the men's game. BW leading 5-2. Nice interception for the Purple Raiders there defensively. Grant Elfers scored for Mount Union in the opening quarter. Then BW scored 5 consecutive goals, but just gave up a goal to Brent Greenberg. So 5-2 BW on the men's side halfway through the third quarter as the Jackets try to go to 12-2 and finish the regular season 7-1 in the OAC. Amanda Ghetto with a nice stick save, then the ball rolled right back to her. BW 5, Mount Union 4. It looks like Giordanogo is maybe got stepped on. I'm not entirely sure, but she's a little banged up. Doesn't seem to be hobbling too much. Keep our eye on her. BW has the ball and the lead, though they're back on the defensive end. Amanda Ghetto possesses. "25 minutes left in regulation. Ghetto is just waiting and waiting. Everybody else is coming up the field, daring her to join the party, but Amanda Ghetto is just waiting around, finally passes away. Scooped up by Albrechta. And Albrechta denied a driving lane. Maddie Russell. Nice spin move, well defended. Albrechta knocked off her feet. And the foul is on Mount Union. That's on Rohrman. So Albrechta gets the free position here, just outside the red arc. And instead of driving toward the cage, she just turns around and passes it. Mount Union has primarily been on the defensive end of the field here in the second half. BW's only shot of the second half has gone in. Actually, check that. They've taken 2 shots this half. One of them was from Megan Patrick, and it sailed wide left. Coker looking around, seeing what she can find out. Back to Kayla Miller. Kayla waiting to see what her teammates do on the left side of the field. Passes over to Russell. Boy, the pass went right into Caitlin Wheeler's stick, and then she just flat out couldn't keep possession. That's a tough turnover for BW. Here comes Mount Union with a chance to tie the game. Led by Britt Klosterman. Pass comes near side to Katie Elder, who scored earlier. 3 unanswered goals by Baldwin Wallace have given them the lead. Chance from right in front. The ball was just jarred free out of Ashley Bernardi's stick. And Ashley Bernardi will have a free position. Bernardi bounces one to Ghetto, and she kick saves it. It gets caught just behind her right heel. I think she would probably tell you that while it was a good save, maybe there was a pinch of luck involved in that. She'll certainly take the good fortune. And as they did last time, BW slowly trying to figure it out on the offensive end as Ghetto just holding the ball on her stick for a moment. Amanda Ghetto standing about 20 yards from the net. Getting everybody lined up. All right. Ghetto was attacked. Jackets trying to take advantage of the numbers. Pass goes to Maddie Russell. Actually, I beg your pardon, that's Jenna Turner down there. Russell then gives it up top to Kayla Miller. And here we go. 21:47 left in the second half. An OAC regular season championship on the line tonight. Patrick, who is certainly making a case for an all-conference performance in 2017, has it near the net, had it deflected out of her stick. Ground ball picked up by Bree Martineau. She continues a nice game, and then she was pushed by Mount Union. So Martineau on the restart. Passes back out. A win or a draw for BW would guarantee them the #1 seed in next week's tournament. Nearly a disastrous mistake. Jackets lucky to keep possession there. Russell up top. Kayla Miller throws it to the near side. Martineau. Coker really pressured. Russell behind the cage. And she was knocked off her centering. I believe it was Michelle Tegedoff who gets hit with the foul. Maddie Russell in a high scoring area couldn't pull the trigger. And another foul. Shot goes low, nicely saved. Nikki Bonaducci was barely able to deflect it. A yellow card on Kayla Miller. So, a chance for Mount Union. Can they take advantage? And an immediate whistle. The pace and the rhythm of this game is starting to get a little more interesting. Mount Union looking for the game-tying goal. Just less than 20 minutes left in regulation. And the deflected pass toward the middle finds Amanda Ghetto's long stick. Here comes Maddie Russell. Russell's going to have to give it up here in a minute. Nice defense. Well done by Megan Ronsaray. Megan Patrick. How did she slip around everybody? A big goal for Patrick. No help side defense. 6-4 BW. They've scored 4 unanswered goals, and this one comes without Kayla Miller on the field after her yellow card. Timeout on the field with 18:40 left to go in regulation. BW leading by 2 on BWYellowJackets.com. Tonight's Yellow Jacket lacrosse game brought to you by American International. When you require a company with proven performance, rely on American International. And by Parkway Auto Care in Berea, Strongsville Express Tire and Automotive, and Montville Express Tire and Automotive. We serve the southwestern suburbs of Greater Cleveland. 18:40 left in our second half. Mount Union scored the first 2 goals of the game. BW then tied it. Then the Purple Raiders scored 2 more and had a 4-2 lead. But Baldwin Wallace has ripped off 4 unanswered goals. Mount Union, in fact, has not scored since the 9-minute mark of the first half. And BW has definitely been the better team in half number 2 after a 4-4 score at the intermission. If you joined us a little late, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for tuning in tonight. The winner of this game will very likely be, if it's Mount Union, and will definitely be, if it's BW, the number 1 team in the OAC tournament. Mount Union still has one more game to play on Saturday, but Heidelberg hasn't won a game yet this season, and they are a struggling program that typically gives up 20 goals per game. So probably a fair assumption that Mount Union will win that game Saturday. Purple Raiders are racing up the field here. A pass to the backside, and then a free position coming. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that Britt Klosterman didn't try to rip off a shot. Big opportunity here for Amanda Ghetto defensively, and she cannot get the stick down in time. Goal for Mount Union's Mackenzie Pencil. The freshman puts one in, and the Purple Raiders strike very quickly. Pencil with her 22nd goal of the year. 17:47 left to go in regulation, and it's just a 1-goal lead for BW. Lots of time left. By the way, on the men's side, they are early in the fourth quarter, and BW leads the game 5-3. Jackets have not scored in the fourth quarter, but hanging in there. And a big congratulations goes to Baldwin Wallace's baseball team. They hosted number 5 nationally ranked Worcester this afternoon. The Fighting Scots from just about an hour and a half south of campus. And a walk-off single by sophomore Phillip Wells, and a pinch hit walk-off single in the bottom of the ninth to lead BW over the number 5 team in the country. 3-homer day. BW got homers from Cole Nito, Kevin Hagan, and Jacob Bonner. And the big 6-5 win. So congrats to Brian Harrison and the BW Yellow Jackets baseball team. Ghetto once again finds it in her pocket. Jackets lead by a goal, and they will apparently slow things down again on the defensive end. So we'll take a second to also wish good luck to a couple of other teams competing this weekend. This upcoming weekend is the OAC's Track and Field Championships, which are hosted at Muskingum. The whistle blows here on the near side for a conversation involving both Mackenzie Pencil and Jordan Paw. And whatever the warning was, it was issued. And nipped that in the bud quickly. Anyways, the OAC Track and Field Championships are Friday and Saturday at Muskingum. And the OAC Men's Golf Tournament takes place on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend down in West Lafayette. About an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes from campus, where the men's golf team will play 27 holes on both Friday and Saturday before an 18-hole finish on Sunday. The 72-hole tournament conducted at River Greens Golf Course to determine the OAC champion. We'll see if the Jackets can pull off a big win. Speaking of big wins, Hannah Elbrechta with a big opportunity right in the middle. She scores in the top left corner of the net, and it's a 7-5 Jacket lead. So Baldwin Wallace with a much-needed goal. Meanwhile, things are heating up in the OAC baseball standings. Mount Union has had a terrific season. They're 14-2, and they are at the top of the OAC leaderboard. Marietta in second place at 11-3. You've got Otterbein at 9-5, John Carroll at 8-6, and BW at 8-8. Only 4 teams make the OAC baseball tournament, which is a double elimination tournament. Mount Union will likely be the top seed, though Marietta's played well lately. Marietta and John Carroll play this weekend. That's a really big series. BW finishes the OAC's regular season with Muskingum. That's a pretty big opportunity for BW to make 2 more big statement wins going into the conference tournament. We'll see if the Jackets qualify. They have not qualified yet. They need to win this weekend to see if they can finish that off. Muskingum is 15-19 on the season, 5-9 in the OAC. So good luck to BW's baseball team on Saturday as they try to qualify for the OAC tournament, which of course they won a couple years ago in a College World Series run after they won the East Regional too. Jackets lead by 2. Mount Union trying to quickly strike. The defense gets back though. And the Purple Raiders think better of pressing too quickly as Bernardi holds. We're at 15:08 in the second half. BW on Hannah Albrechta's 25th goal of the season. Regained the 2-goal lead. Albrechta, Martineau, and Megan Patrick all with 2 goals in the game. Katie Coker has the other. Pencil, Rydell, Elder, Klosterman, and Rohrman have all scored for Mount Union. Pencil got in front and somehow missed it from point-blank range. Mount Union still has the ball, but Pencil will probably have nightmares about that miss. Rohrman. Back to Pencil, far side. Good to see Rydell back in the game after leaving with a minor injury about 15 minutes ago. We are under 14 minutes left in regulation. Hard contact. And I think we've got a yellow card coming. Sure do. Baldwin Wallace down a player. Mount Union down by 2. And on Rohrman's restart, somehow never lost possession of the ball despite crossing her arms. That was kind of awkward. Pass goes to the backside of the play. Bobbled. A point-blank shot, and it's good. Ashley Bernardi puts it in for Mount Union. 7-6 with 13:31 left to go in the game. So Baldwin Wallace's loss of a player there hurts their defensive effort. And BW calls timeout. It's their first of the evening. Jackets lead it 7-6, but they've got work to do. 13:31 left in regulation here in Berea. Baldwin Wallace 7, Mount Union 6. And it's getting tight down the stretch in the biggest game in the OAC in 2017. If BW wins, they go undefeated in conference play for the first time in school history. And they would have the number 1 seed in next week's postseason tournament. Mount Union has been to the NCAA playoffs each of the last 3 years by virtue of winning both the regular season and the OAC tournament. John Carroll wrapped up their season today in the, I should say at least the regular season portion of their schedule. We'll update those standings in a second as we get a free position coming. The Blue Streaks with a 23-3 thumping of Heidelberg. So John Carroll is 10-4, 5-2 in conference play. They had a game against Oberlin earlier in the year that was canceled and not made up. Big save by Bonaducci. So Mount Union back up the field with a chance to tie the game. Over 13 minutes to go as Klosterman rolls right by Kayla Miller. Klosterman just barely lost possession of the ball. She tried to shoot it. So anyways, the reason I bring up the John Carroll score, they are now tied with Capital. Actually, I beg your pardon, Capital also won today. Capital is, nope. Actually, the way this is updating on the OAC's website, John Carroll's score hadn't updated, Capital's had, so I was right the first time. Capital and John Carroll are both 5-2 in conference. BW and Mount Union, obviously not sure yet who will be where at the end of the night. Well, we could have a real interesting end of the regular season here. Boy, Mount Union is fired up. Danielle Rohrman plays with her emotions on her sleeves. She got a chance to tie the game. The whole Yellow Jacket defense came to her, and it didn't matter. I mean, there were 5 players on Rohrman, and she scored anyways. And we are tied at 7 with 12:09 left to play. Fabulous effort. The only games left in the regular season after tonight involve Muskingum and Wilmington, Ohio Northern and Capital, Heidelberg, and Mount Union. So BW, John Carroll, and Muskingum. No, actually, I mentioned them. BW, John Carroll, both will be done. As will the Otterbein Cardinals. Actually, come to think of it, I try to give you the updated standings here. Otterbein at 4-3 in the conference. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get into the tournament. Mount Union with a chance to take the lead. They've tied the game at 7 apiece. John Carroll and Otterbein. Actually, you know what? John Carroll and Otterbein are supposed to play, I thought, on Saturday. Though it's not listed that way on the schedule on John Carroll's women's lacrosse page on the OAC website. But I thought that those two teams had to play each other. We'll get it all sorted out. But anyways, Baldwin Wallace is definitely going to play a home game in the tournament next week. Still far too early to decide who their opponent will be as Mount Union scores again. Boy, the Purple Raiders have started to figure it out. 3 unanswered goals for Mount Union. Quickly check the stick, make sure everything's okay. It's Katie Elder on the goal, and it's 8-7 Mount Union. Just under 11 minutes to go, and this game's been kind of flipped on its head a little bit. BW scored at the 16-11 mark to make it 7-5. But Mount Union has scored 3 goals in the last 2.5 minutes. And they've taken a lead. Hard foul. And it gives a free position to Jenna Turner. She's waiting for the whistle. There it comes. Turner had to go to the corner. So BW once again finding themselves back against the wall. Bernardi, Rohrman, and Elder have all scored in the last 3 minutes to give Mount Union back the lead. They were down 2 and they scored 3 goals so quickly. Hopefully Baldwin Wallace can take advantage of this offensive possession. They really haven't had possession a lot over the last 10 minutes. Mount Union's defense has kicked it into another gear when BW has had the ball. It's been a fun game. By the nature of it, somebody's going to go home unhappy. But you can't help but wonder if these two teams might see each other again in the OAC tournament next week. BW had possession, but then the clock stops. Jenna Turner will have a free position. Albrecht and Turner were in front of the cage, and neither could score. Boy, this could be a golden opportunity for Turner. She could take 2 steps and rip a shot. She bounces one in. Turner ties the game. Just got past Bonaducci. We are all tied at 8 with 9:30 to play. I would have a hard time believing that the final score of this game would be 8-8 with the way these two offenses have performed in the second half. Both teams have scored 4 goals in each of the 2 halves so far. We've played just over 50 minutes of lacrosse. In fact, statistically speaking, these 2 teams are pretty even. Mount Union's taken 1 more shot and 2 additional shots on goal. BW winning the ground balls 14-13. Jackets are also ahead in the draw control, now 10-8 as they win that one. Can BW strike again here? Albrecht gives it away. Long pass coming back out up top. BW can't find an opening. Lob into the middle, and it was intercepted by Mount Union. Megan Patrick was there. Had a little bit of contact, but Mount Union caught the ball. Maddie Russell got on Danielle Rohrman's way, and Rohrman will have it on the restart. She is long and lean, very athletic. Just a freshman, but having a tremendous impact on the Mount Union program right away. Both teams looking for a go-ahead goal late in regulation. And Mount Union strikes it right there. Big goal by Britt Klosterman, but still lots of time left with only 8:01 on the clock. So the Purple Raiders lead the game 9-8. By the way, I can confirm now that John Carroll and Otterbein are going to play on Saturday at 6 o'clock. I'm not sure why that game is not being reflected on the OAC's website, but it is on John Carroll's website. So the Blue Streaks and Cardinals will face off against each other. The only team in the conference that won't play a game Saturday is BW. This is the last game of the regular season for the Jackets. There's a lot of contact there picked up and controlled by Baldwin Wallace. They'll have it after the foul. 7:48 on the clock. Hannah Stein passes backwards here. Mount Union 9-3 on the campaign. BW 12-2, and they are red hot. Haven't lost a game in over a month. Good strong pass goes to Martineau, who's got 2 goals in this one. Mount Union has traveled well, and their fan base making some noise below us. Albrecht denied a clean look. Purple Raiders lead the game by 1 goal. Neither team has led the game by more than 2. But this has definitely been a game of runs. Can BW come up with a late one here? Megan Patrick defended pretty well. Good job by Amy Slusher, the senior midfielder, just moving her feet. She's a 4-year starter. Albrechta had it jarred loose, picked it up again. Finally passes it away. Brief stoppage. Maddie Russell. Right to the cage, and it's a stick save. Excellent work by Nikki Bonaducci. And Mount Union wasting little time. 6 minutes to go. The Purple Raiders lead by a goal. Everybody puts down their stick. We've got a timeout on the field. Mount Union 9, Baldwin Wallace 8. Final 6 minutes of regulation coming next on BWYellowJackets.com. Well, after Mount Union burns its final timeout, they have the ball and a 1-goal lead, 9-8 with 6:03 left in regulation. Was watching Danielle Rohrman during that last timeout, and she was actually being stretched out by the training staff. Wonder if maybe she's dealing with some cramps, but hopefully she's okay. Don't want to see anybody get hurt. And she is back out there at the outset here of this replay. A chance and a high save. Boy, Ghetto barely got her stick on it. And Amanda tells everybody to go down the field. And this is like any other opportunity. She might hold the ball in her stick for a moment or two. We'll see if Mount Union chooses to pressure her or not. I would think not. Yep, somebody's going to come get it. It's Megan Patrick. Mount Union has a 1-goal lead. They don't want BW to go any faster than they want to go at their own pace. The onus is on the Jackets here. Can they come up with a late regulation goal to tie things at 9 and put pressure on Mount Union on the road? Coker denied. She can't get off a shot. Actually, that's Kayla Miller. I beg your pardon. Pass toward Megan Patrick, knocked away. Bonaducci lost control of it. And apparently, a foul on BW. Mount Union playing without anyone in goal right now, which is only dangerous in the idea that it could get deflected in, but once that ball goes into the circle, nobody else can go get it. Mount Union with 4 minutes and 18 seconds left, trying to pull off the upset on the road. Only an upset in the 2017 standings, but the Purple Raiders are used to being the hunted, not the hunter. Baldwin Wallace right now, the top of the OAC. They have not lost a game in conference this year, and they haven't lost at all since March 21st against Oberlin. It was one of the top teams in the country. Under 4 minutes to go. Purple Raiders with the lead and the possession. A loss tonight for BW would still give them a share of the OAC regular season title, but a win tonight would give them the crown outright. If they lose tonight, they still have to wait and see how Mount Union and Heidelberg finish up on Saturday. But Heidelberg lost again tonight to John Carroll, 23-3, and they are 0-11 in their first year as a school. All right, it's BW ball here. Kayla Miller's gutsy pass up the field, pulled in by Coker. Fast break opportunity. Under 3 minutes to go. Coker passes backside. Russell redirects. Miller's shot deflected away. Big bullet dodged there. Albrechta. Maddie Russell's had a quiet game. She has an assist, but no goals to show for her efforts. Turner tried to bounce one left side and missed it. Still belongs to Baldwin Wallace with 2:24 left in regulation. Trying to potentially force overtime. And it looks like Jenna Turner will have a free position. The officials get it sorted out. Turner, a big opportunity here. Toward the goal, and she bounces it home. We are tied at 9. Jenna Turner with her second of the night. One of the biggest goals of the season. It is worth noting, by the way, that if this game were to end in a draw, Baldwin Wallace would be the OAC champions because Mount Union has lost a game. BW would finish 7-0-1. Of course, we would have to get through overtime before we really start talking about that. That goal was credited to Allie Lakey, but should not have been. At least I'm 99% sure it was Jenna Turner that scored. Yep, it was Turner. So I'm sure they'll change that in the stats. All right, 2:23 left to go. Clock stops on the bad draw. Controlled by Mount Union. 2:15 to play. Purple Raiders are facing a must-win. They're not even guaranteed the playoffs yet. It's very likely, but I don't think it's written in stone yet. And they are fighting for a chance to play at home for sure. Ball is still loose on the ground. Klosterman tried to pick it up with 1:46 to play. Mount Union ball. Klosterman. Knocked away by Katie Coker. I believe it will be BW ball, waiting for the signal on the far side as Coker fixes her stick. It sure is. Yellow Jacket possession. Oh, the pass was dropped in the backfield. BW picks it up. And you can tell the nervous energy really becoming a factor here. Both teams playing a little out of control. Jordan Engo was kind of knocked down. Foul on Mount Union with 1:21 to play. Crowd is really getting into it. Russell passes forward to Kayla Miller, who bobbled it. 1:13 left on the clock. Does BW hold for the last shot here? All tied at 9 after we were tied at 4 at halftime. Coker. Thought she had a chance. 49 seconds left. Turner behind the cage, passes to Martineau. Albrechta looking into the middle, still possesses. 36 seconds to play. Maddie Russell bounced it, it was kicked and blocked. How did it not go in? Enormous stop by Mount Union as Maddie Russell couldn't find the back of the net. And the Purple Raiders with that defensive stand may have forced overtime. It's loose on the far side, and with 8 seconds to play, a pass toward the middle. There's the horn. 60 minutes, not enough. And it will be golden goal. 2 overtime periods, 3 minutes each. And again, a reminder, a tie would be a good thing for BW. If the Jackets finish in a draw, they will be the #1 seed in next week's OAC tournament. So a win or a draw favors Baldwin Wallace. Overtime #1 coming your way next on BWYellowJackets.com. Tonight's Yellow Jacket women's lacrosse game brought to you by Valley Ford Truck. When you need a big job done right, call Valley Ford Truck. By Integrity Berea. If you're looking for a place to call home, visit mybereaapartment.com. And by the Oriole Cafe, a great place for sports, located less than 2 minutes from campus up on North Rocky River Drive. We are headed to overtime. 9-9 our score in what's been a wild game. BW controlled early in the second half and looked like they had some real momentum. But Mount Union, when they trailed 6-4, scored a goal, gave up a quick goal, down 7-5, then scored 3 goals in a 2.5-minute stretch to take the lead back. BW scored 2 of the last 3, and in this golden goal overtime scenario, BW starts with possession. Megan Patrick has it, gives it up for a moment. We will play a maximum of 2 overtime periods, 3 minutes in length. If BW wins, they'll be 8-0 and win the OAC regular season championship. They'll be the number 1 seed in the tournament next week. If they draw the same scenario, Mount Union must win in order to host the tournament next week. They still have 1 more game to go. In the meantime, this furious rally down on the field as Mount Union possessing the ball. Possession so critical in a brief golden goal overtime period. And you're going to see some aggressive play for sure. Rohrman throws it up the field. Here comes Katie Elder as the defense tries to retreat. 2:10 left. Sticks down and a timeout. Mount Union will take the opportunity to talk about this offensive possession. So we'll step aside 2 with 2:09 left in overtime. Tied at 9, the next goal wins it on BWYellowJackets.com. Mount Union finishes their timeout. You almost wonder how much of that was to help Danielle Rohrman stretch out. Again, attended to during that timeout by the athletic training staff. I have to think she's probably dealing with a calf cramp in her right leg, but she's playing through it, and she's made a big difference tonight. Danielle Rohrman scored her 36th goal of the year earlier in this second half, her second of the game. The next goal wins it. Mount Union in black, BW in white and gold. This is Rohrman, the freshman in the biggest game of her career so far. Gives it away. Klosterman's had a terrific game. She dishes to Rohrman, who scores. Klosterman finds Rohrman, and Mount Union in overtime has beaten Baldwin Wallace 10-9. So the Yellow Jackets will have to hope that Heidelberg can come up with their first win ever as a program against Mount Union on Saturday, and if they do, then the Yellow Jackets would be the number 1 seed and the outright champions. That is Baldwin Wallace's only remaining hope in that regard. The Yellow Jackets, at worst, will be the 2 seed in next week's tournament, so they will definitely host an OAC tournament game. but now they would have to potentially go on the road to Alliance for an OAC championship if Mount Union wins on Saturday. Tough road ahead, but the Jackets still have had a tremendous season and are very much alive in the OAC championship race. So BW finishes the regular season 12-3, 7-1 in conference play. Mount Union improves to 10-3 overall. They are 6-1 going into the final weekend of the regular season. Thanks for joining us tonight. Mount Union the win, 10-9 in overtime. I'm Brendan Gulick. So long from Tressel Field in Berea, where Mount Union beats Baldwin Wallace in overtime on a golden goal from Danielle Rohrman. Have a great night, everybody.